Hi, this is Dr. Akiba Green with Lake Norman Health and Wellness. I'm here to talk to you about how to avoid hidden sources of gluten. Now, congratulations! You've gone gluten-free and you're here to improve your health. Perhaps you have celiac disease or non-celiac gluten sensitivity, both of which require avoidance of gluten for optimal health. You know to avoid wheat, barley, rye, triticale, acorn, farro, kamut, spelt, farina, emmer, durum, and semolina, plus most oats because they're commonly cross-contaminated with gluten grains in the field or factory. That pretty much sums it up, right? Wrong. Well, not quite. Gluten can actually reside as a hidden component in many common food ingredients, which can make food shopping, restaurants, travel, and potlucks a very risky business. I'm here to offer some guidelines for successfully navigating this tricky terrain. Now, manufacturers are not presently required to identify gluten as an ingredient on labels. Just because a product doesn't list a gluten grain doesn't mean it's gluten-free. Your greatest tool in determining what is safe to eat is to read food labels and become familiar with stealthy ingredients that may include gluten. Have you ever seen an ingredient that you can't identify? If so, it's best to avoid it. Now, we've got a fairly exhaustive list of common ingredients that can contain gluten on my blog at www.askdrakiba.com, but I'm going to go through a few of them with you here. Malt and barley malt, food starch and modified starch, dextrin and maltodextrin. These are sourced oftentimes from corn or wheat, and it doesn't always just tell you which it is from. Hydrolyzed protein. This includes MSG, but it includes anything that says natural flavor. Spices, artificial flavors, brewer's yeast, gelatinized and pre-gelatinized starch, brown rice syrup. Oh, shoot, that's a lot. What about prepackaged foods? They can add a challenge to you as well. Look for a certified GF label if you aren't sure, otherwise pass it up. Now, soy sauce is important because many soy sauces will have wheat in them. You can get tamari, which is wheat-free. You can also get things like coconut aminos. How about salad dressings that they use gluten thickeners for? Gravies, sauces, and marinades. Canned and boxed soups. Instant coffee, coffee substitutes. Condiments. How about processed meats? Gluten is often used as a binder in cold cuts, hot dogs, sausages, and some specialty reformed meats. On a recent episode of something on food TV, one of those, I think it was guys, diners, drive-ins, and dives. What he saw was somebody making sausage. And you know, one of the main ingredients they added was a whole bunch of breadcrumbs into the sausage before it even got cut up. So you don't even necessarily realize what's in it. All right. How about mashed potatoes? A lot of mashed potatoes are not gluten-free, especially if you go out to eat. Ask them if they're safe. Imitation crab meat is never gluten-free. I got a bad one for you. If you like sushi, the little fish eggs that are on top of sushi rolls, every single roe or caviar that is currently imported to the United States, unless it specifically states gluten-free, is actually soaked in soy sauce, which has gluten in it, before you get it. That means that roe is not gluten-free. How about chips? There's oftentimes factory cross-contamination. Even if the ingredient list only says corn and oil and salt, there could still be factory cross-contamination. Most beer has wheat in it. Communion wafers, I've talked about this a lot. One communion wafer, tiny little wafer, can set you back 6 to 8 weeks of inflammation if you eat it. All Chinese condiments contain wheat, including soy, oyster, hoisin, and bean sauces. And restaurants can pose their own challenges. Some things to look out for include fried foods. Those delectable fries may have been cooked in the same oil that fried the onion rings doused in wheat batter. How about vegetables that have been parboiled in the pasta water? GF foods may be prepared on the same surfaces or with the same utensils that glutinous foods touch as well. If you're uncertain at a restaurant, talk to the chef directly. Don't feel bad about asking for a manager or the chef. If you're not happy with the answer, then don't eat there. Many restaurants are becoming aware of the need for truly GF foods, but it's always good to make sure that they're careful about food prep. Just because you told the server that you're gluten-free doesn't mean she's going to remember. You have to tell her you have an allergy. You have to tell her in some cases, I have a very severe allergy. I do not want to get sick. Please tell the kitchen. Please mark everything. Go overboard. There's nothing wrong with that. It's for your own protection. Ask friends. Ask local online GF groups about good recommended eateries. For those local to us in Lake Norman, Charlotte area, we maintain a list of GF-friendly restaurants in our office. When you're new to eating gluten-free, restaurants and grocery stores and shopping can be daunting. The more you do it, the better you'll get at determining what goes into your belly. If you aren't sure, don't eat it. Ask questions, read ingredient labels. Just because those noodles say rice on the front, that doesn't mean they don't have a gluten grain added in. Wheat-free doesn't necessarily mean gluten-free. Lastly, always check product labels for warnings that state a food is produced in a factory that also makes gluten-based products. They'll say manufactured in a facility that also manufactures or contains wheat, soy, corn, etc., etc. If it is, cross-contamination could definitely be an issue. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes, and soon you'll be navigating your gluten-free life with ease. Now, non-gluten grain options include rice, corn, amaranth, millet, quinoa, sorghum, teff, and buckwheat, which is actually not in the wheat family. However, these grains can cross-react with gluten in some people. That means their body recognizes them as gluten and responds with a reaction. An elimination provocation diet or food sensitivity tests can let you know which grains are safe for you personally to eat. Dairy is another food that often cross-reacts with gluten, as is coffee. Diet sodas and artificially sweetened foods have their own issues. Now, they don't actually contain gluten, but the artificial sweetener aspartame, especially, is recognized as a serious offender for many with gluten intolerance or celiac disease. And aspartame actually triggers similar allergic reactions, including severe stomach pains and bloating, so avoiding it can spare you the pain and suffering. Ask my office about nutritional therapy strategies to manage your celiac or gluten sensitivity further. Call 704-987-3993 and speak with me, Dr. Green, today.